My future in-laws demanded we serve a cheap, tasteless grocery store cake at our wedding to save them money, so I served it, right before revealing the magnificent three-tiered masterpiece I'd bought and hidden myself. My world was about to change in the best possible way. I was marrying Sarah, the love of my life. She's a brilliant, kind woman with a laugh that can light up a room. All I wanted was to build a life with her, a partnership based on respect and shared decisions. The wedding wasn't just a party to me, it was the starting line. It was our first major project as a team, a declaration of our new family unit. The stakes, therefore, were not about flowers or venues, they were about autonomy. My most important principle was that our marriage had to begin on our own terms, free from outside control and manipulation. The antagonists were not strangers or rivals, but Sarah's parents, Richard and Carol. On the surface, they were respectable, church-going pillars of their community. But in private, they were masters of financial and emotional control. Their love came with strings, and those strings were woven from their checkbook. They had a long history of gifting things to Sarah, only to use that generosity as leverage later. We first encountered this when we were choosing a wedding venue. We found a beautiful, rustic barn that we adored. They vetoed it. "It's far too extravagant for our money," Richard had said, even though we had offered to pay the difference. They insisted on a sterile hotel ballroom that offered a bulk discount. They weren't paying for a wedding, they were purchasing controlling shares in it. The main battle was fought over the cake. Sarah and I had gone to a tasting at a wonderful local bakery run by a French woman with a passion for her craft. We fell in love with a lemon raspberry cake with delicate buttercream frosting. It was perfect. When we excitedly told her parents about it, showing them the design, Carol scoffed. She pulled out a flyer from a local grocery store chain. "Look," she said, pointing to a picture of a sad, flat sheet cake. "This is a quarter of the price. It feeds the same number of people." "But Mom," Sarah started, "we really love the other one. It's part of the experience." "Don't be ridiculous, Sarah," Richard cut in, his voice dripping with condescension. "It's just cake. Nobody remembers the cake. This is about being sensible with our money." He emphasized the word our. "This is our wedding gift to you, and we will not be extorted by some fancy baker." I watched the light go out of Sarah's eyes. I saw her shoulders slump in defeat. In that moment, I felt a rage so pure and cold it was almost serene. This wasn't about money. They were both successful dentists. This was about power. It was about reminding us that we were still the children, and they were the adults. They were intentionally robbing their own daughter of a small joy, just to prove that they could. I realized right then that I couldn't win by fighting them head-on. They would just threaten to pull their funding, and it would crush Sarah. But I could win the war by losing this battle. I saw the whole plan flash in my mind. Sarah was quiet on the drive home, staring out the window. "It's fine," she said, though her voice was thick with disappointment. "It's just a cake." But we both knew it was more than that. It was a symbol of their control, a harbinger of a future where every major decision, buying a house, raising our kids, would be subject to their approval. The next day I called Richard. I put on my most agreeable, slightly defeated tone. "Richard," I said with a sigh. "You know what? Sarah and I talked, and you're absolutely right. It's silly to spend so much on a cake. We really appreciate your generosity, and since it's your gift, it should absolutely be your choice. We'll go with a grocery store cake. Just let us know which one you'd like." There was a moment of surprised silence on his end, followed by a triumphant, "Excellent. Glad to see you're finally thinking sensibly, son." My first strike was malicious compliance in its purest form. I gave them exactly what they wanted, making them believe they had won. I had set the trap. Now I just had to wait for them to walk into it. Richard and Carol's smugness was unbearable. Having won the battle of the cake, they felt emboldened. Carol would call Sarah 2 or 3 times a week with helpful reminders about the wedding, each conversation a subtle jab about our expensive taste and their sensible generosity.